Hello and welcome to Daily Politics, reaching you from Trust TV here from Kaduna. For the very first time, we're reaching you from away from the site and from our studios in Abuja. Today we're in Kaduna and maybe tomorrow we'll be somewhere else because we are bringing you a series on an important issue. Insecurity in northern Nigeria in search of solution. So we'll go wherever the search for solution takes us. And today we're here in Kaduna. The issue of insecurity in the north has been raging for quite a while. There have been a lot of people who have died, a lot have been killed, hundreds have been kidnapped and raped, and so on and so forth. Throughout this period, going over 10 years now, it has been a matter of blaming A or blaming B. We are not after blames. We at Daily Politics and we at Trust TV, we want solutions and we are seeking solutions. And we will follow the trail of news and information to bring you voices of people that we think can help in resolving this conflict. Because all that matters is a permanent solution to this. I have with me here one of the few people who have done the most in search of solution on this matter. Of course, I'm talking about Dr. Sheikh Ahmad Gumi, who has gone round and round also in search of solution like we have. You're most welcome, sir.
It's a pleasure for me.
Thank you. Again, before we go on, we'll just take a minute and then we'll take a break. And when we return, we'll continue. Welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is Daily Politics on Trust TV, and today we're in Kaduna. We're speaking with Dr. Sheikh Ahmad Gumi, who, as we have said earlier, has also gone round in search of solution to the insecurity issues in northern Nigeria, particularly the issue of banditry in the northwest. You're most welcome once again, sir.
Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you, sir. Without further ado, a lot of people knew you first as a medical doctor, and then certainly, of course, as the son of the late Sheikh Mahmoud Gumi, and therefore also a sheikh in your own right, you know. But lately, people associate you with issues around insecurity in northern Nigeria. What has informed this kind of transformations at a personal level?
Okay, I think anybody who is conscientious about the happenings in his own environment should not fold his arms if he can contribute, no matter how small, in trying to get solutions to the problem, not just blaming, just solutions to the problem. I think this is what informed me, saying that the first step to curing a disease, a doctor will tell you, is diagnosis.
Okay.
You have to know what you are treating. If you don't know what you're treating, you just do blindly treating somebody, in fact, you may end up killing the patient. So in trying to see and understand what's actually happening, you have to be in contact with the first person. I don't want to hear from others. I want to hear from the people committing these crimes directly, face to face. Interact with them and hear with them and see what we can do and help them. That's what's actually caused me to go in and meet them.
Thank you. So but for every problem, like you said, as a doctor, the first is diagnosis, then treatment, right? So for every problem such as this, the first thing is to understand it. But many people are saying, for example, those of us in the news, we always get accusations that we don't really understand what is going on, or we don't have a deeper understanding of what is going on. What exactly is going on, specifically in relation to banditry in the Northwest?
Okay, what's happening there is a multifaceted problems combined together in a complex. But you can still simplify it.
Okay.
One, any nation that affords to leave behind a big segment of that society behind. When I say behind, without education, without social welfare, without interaction, without even governance, just allow them to stay without even presence of government in them. Any society that will allow such will definitely have this problem in hand. So we found people who, maybe if they hear about government is in the radio, they don't see the government there. They have no any portion of the national cake which is allocated to them. There is no allocation to them in all the budget Nigeria has been spending. Nothing goes to them, either in education, in health, in anything. I just heard the Central Bank was giving loan for rice farmers, Central Bank trader money, and nothing goes to them. So any nation that will afford to have such a population, I will be surprised if that nation will be taken aback that people are doing what they are doing. So that's number one.
Okay.
So, secondly, when it comes to education, there are two types of education: mundane education, day-to-day education, and there's a spiritual, moral education. When you lack the two, then you're producing a bomb, atomic bomb. Because a human being who is not educated can easily be used by other external forces, external enemies, to destabilize the country. So we find them to be lacking in both moral, faith-based education and modern education. They don't have any. Then, thirdly, they are aggrieved. People have been capitalizing on their ignorance to extort them. And when they started reacting, although...
What kinds of extortion?
Anything, any extortion you can think about the world. The Fulani Hats, anything you can think about the property, world, anything you can think about the Fulani Hatsman saw it. He can be wronged, and he will be the one who will be fined in a court of law.
And he's the one injured.
He's the one, yes. Because people, when they see him, they see cows, so they milk him. So how many were incarcerated, were arrested, only to bail themselves with cows for nothing he has done? So many. And this is in their psyche. That is a world of we and others. Others means Nigerians, from the government, from the town people, from anybody except a herdsman. It's not a question about Fulani or not Fulani. Even a Fulani man, in fact, they complain more about their leaders, who they said or they castigate as using their name to do whatever they do, and yet the authorities are using their leaders to cheat them. So it's the herdsmen now revolting. It's a revolt of the herdsmen.
Against everyone else?
Against everyone. Everybody who is not
a herdsman.
Who is not a herdsman, because they know the problems they suffer. And they have no mouthpiece to talk about their problems, nowhere to address their problems. So they have resorted to self-help. Okay, is it the gun you are fighting us with? We get the gun. This is in a nutshell the three things I've told you about.
Thank you. So you're speaking largely about social and economic exclusion,
yes,
from the Nigerian mainstream society.
Yes.
But also on top of that, that's an injustice of its own kind.
And yes.
And then on top of that, everyday injustices are also
meted on them.
meted out on them.
Yes.
So how does this accumulate to the forms of what we now see and know as banditry?
Yes.
What's the connection?
Yeah. What the connection is now, they've realized they have to, since they control a big land of a big area, the forest, they have seen that they are the masters of the forest. Nobody's there. So they have to protect themselves. They need weapons. And why did they resort to killing, especially in Zamfara State, somewhere in, why do they resort to attacking villages and killing? Usually it's in retaliation to the actions of Nsake. Nsake means the vigilante, because the vigilantes are ruthless. They are the one who started the massive killing of herdsmen, especially their leaders. So they retaliate.
But a lot of people feel that the Nsake vigilante are like the civilian JTF
Yes.
in the south, in the northeast.
Yes.
That is, they emerge in response to the attacks by the
No,
herdsmen.
they emerge in response to in response to armed robbery.
Okay.
So the Fulani man who is uneducated, he finds that he robbed people on the road. To him, it's different from when you come and slaughter me. They are robbing and they are killing them. So if it's question of now, you are killing us, then we kill you. You kill me just for robbing people's money? So they started revenging, attacking villages wherever there is Nsake. Even the latest attack, which killed about 200 people.
In
Shinkapi. It's a attack, it's a reprisal attack on Nsake. Killing their leaders and all their members. In fact, they gathered to get government subvention. And this is what we told the government, don't make that mistake. This conflict has some ethnic undertones. Ethnic, because this is Fulani and this is Hausa or whatever tribe, it is Kadarawa and all that things. And it has a class undertones too, because these are cattle rearers and these are farmers. The government don't take side, be a peace broker.
So is there any indication that the government took side?
Yes, they took side.
Okay.
The governments were embracing the Nsake. Nsake usually Tauri people putting amulets and all this kind of things. They're the Nsake, trying to use them against these people. They shouldn't have done that. What I told them to do, or what they should have done, was to create a force and incorporate in the force, which will be trained by the army or the military or the police, because if there is training, formal training, there is what we call fire discipline. There will be fire discipline. Nobody will just
you don't train someone until you have the order.
Yes, until we have a fire order. You don't fire like that. But Nsake is not trained. Whenever he sees a Fulani man, it's just to kill him, slaughter him. So what we told them, look, why don't we incorporate them into civil defense or a kind of force?
Doctor, before even we got to the solutions,
yes.
I was thinking we could dig deeper into the causes, because a lot of people don't understand these underlying causes.
Of course, yes.
And then they jump, and so people are saying that the people that are committing any aggression against the Fulani are on one side.
Yes.
The people that the Fulani are retaliating against are on another side.
Yes.
For example, social exclusion is government largely, and government absence, that's largely government fault. But the people that the Fulani are attacking are individuals and innocent people in their communities.
Okay.
How are these?
How can we? So you see, when you have people who are excluded, socially, economically. Yes. They are not even allowed to take their cows to market. A Fulani herdsman cannot go to market. There are towns he cannot pass through. So they felt themselves in a circumstance.
Was that this situation of you cannot pass through this town, was it there before the case of banditry, or it came after the banditry started?
No, this is the reason for the banditry, because there is nowhere they can take their cattle to sell. So the only way they can get money to buy more weapons, and in fact we should know that there's inter-groups rivalry.
Even between
themselves. They are uneducated. And the more weapons you have is the more power you have. In fact, they will count for Kachala so has 5 general purpose machine guns. It means he's strong. So there is an arm race between them. So where do they get the money? They cannot get the money except to kidnap people. We are not justifying what we are saying. We are telling us
this is what is happening.
This is what happened.
And if you want to solve the problem, you have to understand
You have to understand it. So they have to kidnap people to get money. In the beginning, they were collecting thousands, then to millions, and now to hundreds of millions, because the more the pressure, the more the need for weapons, the more the money they collect. And you see the reaction of the security forces since 2014, the reaction has worsened it, simply because we didn't understand the reason.
The underlying
problem. It's just like taking any sick person to the operation theater. Just open him. They will kill many people. So when the military, especially the military, when they entered into the forest to fight cattle rustling, it ended up in massive killings and genocide of the herdsmen. So they developed a thick skin against anything military or anything government. In fact, they even specifically said, in the beginning when they came fighting cattle rustling, because they are the first victim of cattle rustling, the owners of the cattle. And this is a phenomenon that
who are the perpetrators of the cattle rustling?
This is something that is introduced and became a very big industry in 2010, 11, and 12. We don't know from where. They don't even know from where. And generally, it's controlled by forces outside. Because they said...
Where outside?
Outside the herdsmen perimeter. One, they said they don't have trailers to carry rusted cattle. They don't even slaughter. I know Fulani man doesn't slaughter. He doesn't slaughter. It's not he doesn't butcher animals to kill them and sell. He said the cow, the cow doesn't give birth to AK-47. So there is a group of people who found in cattle rustling a big business, whether it is for economic reason, whether it's an intentional, well-studied, intelligent move to destabilize a region. It needs further investigation. Because suddenly they are the victims of cattle rustling. And these cattle were going in one direction.
Which direction?
They are going south.
Southern?
Yes.
Interesting. The cattle rustled from Zamfara State.
Zamfara, Kaduna, and everywhere. Where are the cattle going? They are loaded on trailers down to the south.
Interesting.
It became a business. So they said, we don't control that. So in fact, it became for a herdsman to save himself, to save his skin. He has to do one of 3 things. One, you either form gangs to protect yourself from other gangs that rustle cattle, which means you need guns like the ones they have. Or you have to pay tribute to gangs that steal so they don't touch your cattle. Or you will definitely be robbed. You have to leave the area you are. You have to migrate. So many Fulanis were displaced. There are IDPs everywhere. IDPs. And you know an IDP, when you don't have a sustained social program by the government to help them, their children will say, let's go on revenge. So I'm saying it's a very complex issue. So it's the cattle rustling which the government was not able to control in the beginning that led to arming of the herdsmen, because you cannot live one hour in the bush without a gun to protect yourself. So when the military went in, they massacred a lot, killing indiscriminately.
The military were sent in to go after the cattle rustlers.
In fact, they told us when the military came, they were welcoming them. Okay, they are coming to help us.
The Fulani herdsmen were welcoming the military.
Yes. But in the end, they see that they came in there killing indiscriminately.
Is that a case of mistaken identity?
No, you see,
what happened?
No, the military is not a police organization. When you use military where police should be used, definitely you will get this result. We had it in Maiduguri.
Yes.
I once had it when I was in Saudi Arabia, myself in BBC. Some people, when the military was put in forced to kill Boko Haram insurgency in Maiduguri, I had it. The Maiduguri people say, we prefer the Boko Haram than the military, because they were going house to house, searching, bringing children, killing. I had an imam who said in front of his eyes, 11 children of his were killed just because they attended morning prayer, Fajr prayer. It means they are Boko Haram. The military doesn't know how to separate the chaff from the grain. They only know the firepower should be double or triple of what I am getting from the enemy. So when you put the military to do that, they will cause more harm. Even the Boko Haram crisis was made worse by the inclusion of the military in that. We have seen pictures where they were slaughtering Boko Haram suspects. In fact, I published it in the Facebook that time. So you see, when you handle it wrongly, you exacerbate the situation. This is exactly what happened with the herdsmen. And so they became, they went into an arm race. And to get the arms, they don't have cattle to sell, so they have to kidnap people. How many people? In fact, there's a professor they kidnapped in the abuse area. He was here with me. He said, when they released him, after paying the money, he said, please pardon us.
They were telling him?
Yeah, please pardon us. My own brother, when they kidnapped him and he paid ransom, when he was going, he said, please pardon us. Pray to God that we stop this. They don't enjoy what they are doing. So that's why.
Does that portend a room?
That's why, as I'm sitting here, I just found myself, I can gather them for peace talk. Come and gather. Some will travel 2-3 days on bike, in bush, in forest, coming, just to find a way out. They need an intelligence, they need leadership, they need mouthpiece, they need all these things to gather them, to bring them out of the quagmire they found themselves in. They just found themselves in that situation. They didn't plan it.
But the federal government has declared them now as terrorists.
The federal government is just like taking a butcher from the market to a surgical unit in Borodiko Hospital to do an operation. Why? Because the butcher cuts meat, and this is a human being whose meat needs to be cut. This the federal government is a butcher, devoid of any intelligence, just ego, power, and money. That's all. This is a delicate social, economic problem that needs intellectuals, intelligent people to come and sit down and iron it out. If myself, with no authority at all, I can gather these bandits, what more if the government is truly interested? They can gather them double of what we can and also sit down with them and iron it out. So the government can do it. But which government will do that? In fact, they are sabotaging even what we are trying to do. How can you just come and declare? And one thing they don't understand, when you declare bandits terrorists, terrorism, in fact, is up to now contentious. One definition: who is a terrorist? And what are the laws that govern how you treat a terrorist? Do you have right whether morally or religiously or constitutionally, to just suspect a gathering of people and drop a bomb on them with their children? What we are doing now in your own terrorism? What's the difference between you and the terrorists? When they kill civilians too in the premise that they are conniving with the government. You too, you kill their civilians. So this dirty war, I don't want it to be introduced into this issue. I don't want the dirty war to be introduced. We can untangle the problem. That's why my going in has helped me, has helped them, and has shown us what the government is doing is completely wrong. It's completely wrong.
That raises another issue, that there are people within these local communities. They have Su Hakimai and district heads and village heads and so on, who live within close proximity with the herdsmen, that they also have a role to play in building peace or in bringing the conflict to an end. But these are the same group that are the most victims of the attacks by the Fulanis.
No, you see, I've met many emirs. Some they said they are between what do you call it, the deep blue sea and when somebody's in a rock and a hard place, they are there. If they show any leniency to the herdsmen, the government will suspect them as collaborating with bandits. And if they don't show such leniency to herdsmen, the herdsmen will say you are collaborating with the government, and their village will be attacked. And when their village is attacked, no government will come to protect them. So now if you are in proximity with herdsmen, bandits, militants, you are in proximity with them. They are within their reach. And the government has no power, whether police or anything, to protect you. It's just natural. You go into dialogue with them, you pacify them, and such an act will be considered as dialing with the
government.
By the government. Okay. So those emirs that stood their word not to negotiate with the bandits, get their towns ransacked. Those emirs that negotiate with bandits get the wrath of the government on them.
Thank you. So, but there are several other questions. For example, the levels of leadership within the states. You have the governors and also the traditional rulers of the major towns and major city centers in these areas, who have authority over the district heads and so on. What role would they play, or have they been playing, or do they need to play to ensure that, what role would they play in any framework for solution?
Yes, you see.
But maybe before we come back to that, we'll be taking a break. Thank you very much for staying with us. This is Daily Politics on Trust TV. If you are joining us, you can follow us on all our social media platforms, on Instagram, Facebook, and on YouTube. Today we're having a discussion on insecurity in northern Nigeria, in search of solution. And today we're discussing with Dr. Ahmad Gumi. We'll take a break for just a minute. We'll be right back. Stay with us. Welcome back. As I said, if you're just joining us, this is Daily Politics on Trust TV. And today we're looking for the solution for insecurity in northern Nigeria. And I'm having this discussion with Dr. Ahmad Gumi here in his home in Kaduna. Thank you. So I was saying that the leadership exists at different levels. We have the federal government, but also the state governments, and then the traditional rulers within the state governments. Some people have been saying that, what about the states? They have abandoned the people in the states and just left them to their devices, and just not doing enough, either jointly or individually, to bring an end to this. Is this something that governors can also do? Because people like Governor Masari, he has said that the governor's hands are tied. There's not much they can do because they don't have control.
And that's why it's for people to be armed.
Okay.
Yes. So I think there's a breakdown of governance. The herdsmen themselves, you know, the Fulani have a hierarchy. They have their own traditional leadership, the Arto system, and which they respect very much. And I can tell you that we don't get access to them except through this same hierarchy, through this same Arto system. We use the Artos to get to them, to sit down with us and discuss. The government can use them. They can empower them and use them. But the government is...
So the same contact that you have is also available to government?
It's quite available to government. And I think there are many attempts by government to use them too, but let's get one thing clear. The herdsmen have lost confidence with the government, politicians, and with the military. That's why when we go there as clergy, they open their hearts and mind and they come, because they know it's serious business and there won't be deception. Because they've been deceived by all this category of stages of government, to the extent that they don't trust any peace move. I think the government can do a lot if it's inclusive. If it is inclusive in the sense that they should bring on the Artos too into the picture. Empower them and use them also.
The Fulani leaders.
The Fulani leaders, yes, in fact. And they can also, like we saw in areas where they appoint Fulani emirs.
Beyond that, there's also the issue of law. And also the issue of firepower. For example, in Nigeria, the discourse has been bomb them, kill them, and so on. Even the governor of Kaduna State here, where we are, Malam Nasir Al-Rufai, said that the only way out of this long jam is to bomb the forest, and all of them, and so on. And that discourse has been coalescing and growing stronger than other voices that say there are other more peaceful means, you know, dialogue that we can achieve, you know, and so on. So how do you see the two as solutions?
The other one, I think, is more political than pragmatic. One, you cannot bomb the forest. If you start bombing the forest, then they will start bombing our cities. In fact, they have the ability and capability to cause more havoc, more damage to us than we have done to them. We have seen that in Afghanistan.
Is that possible?
We have seen that in Afghanistan when the Taliban entered the Tora Bora and entered the forest, the mountains, all the bombing, the carpet bombing did not affect them. And after 25 or 20 years of bombardment and killing, Americans is tired. Economy is shattered. Billions and trillions of naira is wasted. And they are coming back to square one, giving the same power back to the people, to the Taliban. This is an American that has an industry that produces. Now we buy these bombs with hard currency. Hard currency. How can you fight such a war? So you're inviting them to kill us. And we can see, when they have attacked Anchor, how many did they kill?
Almost.
Yes, they can. If you, now I told you, they took the power as a reaction to the wrongs done to them. So if you say continue to bombard them, they'll come out of that, they'll start killing people anyhow.
You think it's because they are Fulani that they said that, for example, nobody is saying kill IPOB members, kill MEND members, and so on. Do you think that's part of this?
No, yes, it's part of it. In fact, you see, when government, Israel and young government declare, like IPOB was declared as a terrorist organization, they still have office in London. We just recently had a conference. An IPOB member from UK was on Zoom with us. Nobody banned them. Nobody prohibited their members from traveling, their accounts frozen. Nobody took Nigeria serious when we declare IPOB as terrorists. Why? Because there is a political agitation underneath it. Or MEND. The Fulanis too, there is an economic, social, and even political undertones under what they are doing. So even if you declare them...
But maybe the reason is the scale of violence. That the violence that the herdsmen is just indiscriminate and too high.
Well, it is time really to start extorting people.
Do you think it's because they are Fulani that they said that, for example, nobody is saying kill IPOB members, kill MEND members, and so on? Do you think that's part of the reason?
Like IPOB was declared as a terrorist organization. They still have office in London. We just recently had a conference. An IPOB member from UK was on Zoom with us. Nobody banned them. Nobody prohibited their members from traveling, their accounts frozen. Nobody took Nigeria serious when we declare IPOB as terrorists. Why? Because there is a political agitation underneath it. Or MEND. The Fulanis too, there is an economic, social, and even political undertones under what they are doing. So even if you declare them...
But maybe the reason is the scale of violence.
No, the need
is just indiscriminate and
too high. To describe them as terrorists or to put the label of terrorists is to close the eye of the world when their rulers are bombarded. Their women and children are killed as collateral because we are fighting terrorists. And that is wrong. That is unethical. And that will bring worse situation than what we have. It's because the same bombardment, the same indiscriminate killing is what caused them to be. So you cannot cure a disease with the same agent that caused the disease. The government needs that level to do that atrocities. To me, it's atrocities. To me, even to produce an atomic bomb is an atrocity. Because an atomic bomb like the one that was dropped in Hiroshima and Nagasaki, it killed more women than soldiers, children than soldiers. To me, it's unethical.
That's part of the reasons that is making negotiation with the bandits and their leaders difficult, because they don't discriminate. They kill women and children. People say that this is just taking it, behaving like this is criminality or banditry taking too. This is terrorism.
Yes, but if you go to their own side, exactly this picture you painted is the one they painted on the government and the people of the town.
Is it true?
Yes, it's true. Killing our children, killing our women. So how do we do? Just put a stop. Let's come and negotiate. I don't think anybody is a saint, honestly speaking. It depends on which side you are. And that's why I ventured to go to the other side to hear from them. When we went to Turji, he was saying he had more than 1,000 men with boys and men with... He said none of them here who doesn't have a relative who was not killed.
Of all his 1,000 boys?
He said here nobody is free of having a relative who was killed. So they're victims too. So when do we stop this vicious cycle of victimhood and bloodshed? We don't need this language of fire. We don't need this language of blood. We don't need. They are Nigerians. We can cop them. We have sat down with them, just like I'm sitting down with you here. They are human beings with the same passion as any other person. But to paint them as evil, and if I go there, I don't allow them to paint us as evil too. Yes, there are mistake made. Yes, the military made mistake. We know. We had it from the military, but you see, the military had its way of taking care of its rogue people. This is what I told them. The military will take care of it. Don't you see those who kill Sadona? Where are they? Those who kill Murtala? Where are they? The military took care of them. So don't worry, the military will flush out the bad elements that came to do these things to you. So dialogue, we can go ahead. My only problem is the political willingness. Okay. Or even.
So where would that political will come from? Is it from the community by voters, or from the governors, or from higher above from the president?
You mentioned Kazina governor is in a desperate situation in which he says people should come out and arm themselves. This is the last straw that broke the camel's back in
Will
time.
that solve the problem?
No, it will not solve. What just show you that a current governor in a ruling party going to this extreme measure, meaning that he has not seen solution coming from up. Yani up cannot solve this problem.
What about starting from ground up?
From ground up, like now.
From the community leaders.
No, we can do it like now. Look,
Yes.
I have been there. And when we went to one camp, they said, look, we have to sit down many more times so that to build confidence, to understand issues very well. We need to go in and engage them. But suddenly, the government is only interested in using recently purchased Tucano aircraft on people. So they have blocked our ability now to engage them. So the government is working directly to oppose our... So if you don't have the government on your side, it's not going to work and people will suffer more. The government has no ability to protect the civilians. From the proclamation of the Cathedral State Governor, you can understand that the government cannot do it. The Minister of Defense have said people should defend themselves. So the government cannot do it. But why is the government opposing dialogue when dialogue can do it? That is what I cannot understand.
Well, some people are saying that the economics of the conflict is also one of those things that sustain it. For example, that the bandits, they have informants within the communities that are affected. And these informants provide information and supplies of money.
And in the long run, to get what? To get money. And money for what? To buy weapons. Because if you go there, you don't see anything. Their life is still the life. You don't see Porsche, you don't see Lamborghini, you don't see... So what are they using the money for? Buy weapons. Why do they need weapons? Because we're fighting. So stop the fight, it will remove the pressure on getting more weapons, and it will bring them back to wherever you can build schools, hospitals, and amenities for them, and they become settled. Give them cows. What Nigeria has spent on this 12 aircraft, which is about $500 million, is enough to solve the whole problem. The Boko Haram problem. It's enough to solve it. But look at the aircraft. Let's see if they can solve the problem. It cannot. So misplacement of spending and priorities, and also, sorry to say, the intellectual content in approaching this issue is absent.
Are you accusing government?
No, I have to accuse government.
Emotional?
No, I have to ask government. Nigerian population has nothing to say except just to wait for the government to do. But the government doesn't have that ability to get the people concerned, to bring them together and see way out. Like now, you came all the way from Abuja to discuss with me this issue. You didn't go to any other scholar. The reason is because you have seen me engaging the bandits. That's the reason.
Yes, sure.
So the government should have been interested in people like us who have seen and talked with them. Although we engage with the state governments and they understand how we understand them, but we understand they have their own limitations too. But the federal government is quite resistant to talk to people who they consider their political adversaries. You know, it's a government which, if you don't support them, then you are their enemy. No, we own Nigeria. It's not the government that owns Nigeria. I and you and them, we own Nigeria with equal responsibility. Even if you are a president now, and I'm here, a Nigerian, you don't have more responsibility than me to see that there is peace. It's just that you are the executive. You are supposed to do your job, and my own job is to also see or advise you. I have to advise them, and so that posterity will say, okay, we didn't see the problem and just folded our arms. But the issue is in Aso Rock, in a nutshell. That's why I expect in 2003, if we have the right leadership.
You mean next year's election?
Next year's election. If we had the right leadership in Aso Rock, this problem will stop just like rain stops suddenly. And when we went to meet Torji, he was telling us, we gave the government 10 conditions. Out of those 10 conditions, they only fulfilled one. And that one condition is that they built for them one borehole. But the other 10, they didn't fulfill. So now when I had the media or people saying, or the politicians saying that the bandits don't fulfill their conditions, in front of me and in front of government officials, the bandits saying, you people made promise and you don't fulfill. And which among us in Nigeria will say that the government and the politicians fulfill their promises? If they don't fulfill their promises to us, what more of people in the bush? So the question I'm saying is, yes, there are peace talks, but the government renegade on its promises. Why is the school built? Where is the hospital? Where is the this? Why is that? Where is? You mean I will just drop my guns like that and just start waiting for you? And thirdly, one of the conditions is that Insecurity should be dismanned. Because Insecurity, the moment his eye sets on a Fulani herdsman, is just slaughter. And they have been killing them. He says you should disman them. And they are still there killing them. Do you want them not to revenge? We know this thing more than, so there's politics in it. And you see, there's 800 billion naira supplementary budget to fight Boko Haram and insurgency. Supplementary.
Not even the substantive.
It was approved by the presidency. Do you know where this money goes to? Trail the money. You find along those who benefit from it are those who are against peace negotiation with the bandits. Because if there is peace, 800 billion naira will not have justification for security. Yes, it's big money. Money.
So some people are saying that, okay, beyond the government, because northern Nigeria used to be, at least there's this cultural and political one unit, one people, one north. Now, some people are saying, okay, what about the other parts of the region? The Northern Governors Forum as a forum, including governors of states where this crisis is not happening, the Arewa Consultative Forum, the Northern Elders Forum, the Jama'at Nasrul Islam, and so on and so forth, the Council of Emirs and Chiefs, and all these influential organizations and, yes, power sectors within the society. That isn't there something that they can do to pull the region out of this situation? Do you see any way from that perspective?
Yes, everybody has a role to play, really. We cannot belittle anybody, no matter how small or big he is. Everybody has a role to play. But once Aso Rock is not ready to engage these people, what I suggested, even a Ministry of Nomadic Affairs, that any nomad, because they have a lot of complaints, just register a complaint with their minister. A minister that talks to the president directly. Nothing like that. I suggested an amnesty for them. Why? Because they said when we drop our weapons, we are arrested and extrajudicially killed. Extrajudicially killed. They will tell you, Fulan, this person is killed, this person, a list. So if we give them an amnesty, okay, from today, all those atrocities committed, like we did to the Niger Deltas, nothing like that is happening. So a government that is only thinking about buying more weapons, spending more on killing people they cannot kill, Or even now, if you are able to kill somebody like Turji, for example, there are 130 Kachalas. In fact, some of the Kachalas are too happy that Turji should be eliminated so that they become the local champions.
So it
will not change anything. When we killed, when the government, not me, it was when the government killed Muhammad Yusuf, who turned out to be Shekau, more deadlier. Now Shekau is eliminated, not by our military after 12 years of fighting, by internal feud between them. And Boko Haram now has metamorphosed into ISWAP. It's because the same people. And ISWAP is more dangerous because they have international connection. Look at how they are attacking military installations, and they are more dangerous. Do you know why? Because they try to be nice to the locals. They say, okay, we are fighting government, so they will cripple government.
So, but this brings us to just about towards the very end of the program now. In most of your conversations on this issue, each time when you speak, this causes a lot of controversy. People say that you're not condemning the bandits, you're not condemning their attacks, or you are patting them in the back, or you are supporting them, campaigning for amnesty for people who are killers. Do you believe you have been misunderstood, that your message is being misunderstood?
No, I'm not misunderstood by anybody. Okay. Yes, because there are people who oppose the dialogue. Those for political reasons. Okay, who is Gumi doing this for? Definitely not our party, because before that he's against our party. That is APC. So APC stalwarts are not happy, and they will do anything to oppose it. I criticize PDP when they're in power more than APC, even though the atrocities or the incompetency of APC is something that only history can judge them. But I condemned the PDP. When Obasanjo was there, I challenged him, I condemned. When Jonathan was there, it's only during Eradio that I have seen nothing that he's on the right track. So I'm not doing it politically, but you see anybody politically there. Secondly, the first person that came out public to oppose me was Shekau, the dead man. It's there on YouTube. He never mentioned me throughout his year of sojourn of irresponsibility, but when I started going to the herdsmen, he immediately released 2 messages. I realized he's trying to capture the herdsmen. Suddenly, we are going to block that. So he felt his interest is at stake. Second person that accused me is one of the Tijaniya leaders. He thinks, okay, Gumi is Izala person, so he's going to turn herdsmen into Izala. So he felt his interest. He started saying, look, you herdsmen should not adopt this Izala. It's better you remain.
So you're saying...
Wait, I'm telling you, the people know that everybody knows what is deen. Everybody, like the Arab says, Kullu yabki ala layla. Everybody is crying for his own layla. They are victims of these people. The victims. They cannot understand why people who killed us, or people who maimed us, or who kidnapped us, how can you call for their amnesty? These people are genuine complaints. But what they don't understand is, if bandits have killed 100, with amnesty, this killing will come to 0. Without amnesty, they will kill 1,000. I'm trying to curtail, so that there will be no more victims like you more. What Nigerians is, if I'm a victim, let everybody be a victim. That's the idea. So victims, direct victims, are also agitating. Then those who benefit from the budget, military budget that is assigned, they don't want to hear peace. Justification for the budget. So everybody is complaining. I know. The moment anybody speaks, I know from which angle he's talking about.
So this is where we come, we draw the curtain on today's program. We hope that sometime next week we'll bring you another edition of in search of solution to insecurity in northern Nigeria series. When you join us again tomorrow, we'll also bring you another edition of Daily Politics. It is me, Suleiman. Stay with us and join us tomorrow.